it's Lauren and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about something that's very personal to me, and not that anything I talk about isn't personal, but quite a personal story. It is something I've shared before on my blog and it is something that I'm open about, but for some reason sitting here in front of the camera telling it is making me feel a little bit nervous, so please bear with me. But in today's video I'm going to talk about my experience with grief in the passing of my mum and also some other family members. I've thought about doing this video for a while, but I've kind of put it off, I suppose, and made excuses not to do it. I just didn't really feel like it was the right time, but I do feel like now is the right time. And I feel this because, well, firstly, just over the last kind of week or so I've seen a lot of things on social media, and just random things that I've come across about people asking questions about grief or how to deal with it, or just generally about grief and stuff. And I kind of was like, oh, maybe it's needed and maybe now is the right time to talk about it. Also, this story that I'm going to share with you is the reason I started Lovelaurenlouise. When I lost my mum, I was so fortunate that I had an amazing dad who loved and supported me and has always been there for me, and I do have lovely, amazing, supportive aunties and uncles and friends and family friends who have been there for me whenever I need them. But I always felt like I didn't have someone who was my age or close to my age who really understood what it was like, and in that aspect I kind of felt like it was a bit lonely. So when I kind of became old enough and got the Lovelaurenlouise idea in my head, it was because I don't want other young people to feel alone when, well, in anything in life, but particularly in the loss of a loved one. I want to be that person for somebody else who I felt like I was missing. But as I said, that's not to take away from all the love support that I had from my dad and my other family members and friends. They were all amazing. My mum was an incredible person, and she is definitely the brightest star in the sky in my eyes. But from the time I was 4, my mum was diagnosed with MS. I'm not going to go into detail about this because I'm not really sure of the ins and outs of it because I was so young, but basically all I knew was that she got a bit tireder quicker than usual, or she just needed to take some rest sometimes. So that's kind of all I knew. And anyway, she battled with that for her whole life, and even as I got older it didn't really impact her in any other ways except for she just maybe got tired quicker, but that's all I really knew and ever saw. Then when I turned 8, I think my parents separated, and a couple of months after that we found out my mum had breast cancer. She went through radiation and chemotherapy and everything she had to do, and she was an absolute fighter, as she was with all of her illnesses, and she won that battle fair and square. But yeah, she won that battle and all was well. Over the next couple of years she had a couple of other illnesses. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about these because, well, firstly I'm just not entirely sure the exact names of them, and yeah, I don't want to say anything wrong. So she had a couple of more illnesses which did impact her in certain ways, but she still was, as I said, an absolute fighter, a champ. She did everything she could. She never let any of her illnesses stop her. For example, I even remember when she did have the breast cancer, when you're getting chemotherapy, I think, again, I might have these facts wrong, but please, I was only 8. Say for example, the chemotherapy, she got it on a Monday and then she wouldn't get it for 2 weeks after. So the week she got it, she'd kind of be wiped out and would be pretty much stuck to the bed. but the second week she would be much better and she would be up and brighter. And during that second week she would like try, I suppose, and do everything to make up for the week before, and she'd take me to the cinema, or we'd do nice things, we'd have like movie nights and stuff. So that's just the way she was, and I know she did all that for me. But yeah, anyway, she got a couple of more illnesses, and then when I was 12, she was lying in bed one morning, and I went into her. It was a Sunday morning, and I went into her and I just knew there was something wrong. And I asked her, I was like, is everything okay, Mum? And she kind of just looked at me, and in that moment I just knew. And I just turned to her and I said, the cancer's back, isn't it? And then we both broke down into tears, and she explained that it was back, but it wasn't going to be curable this time. And in that moment I knew everything had changed. Everything that we did from that time on was even more of a memory than I was noting as even more of a memory as compared to before that. It was the January, just gone 2010, and things were starting to progress, and the months the weeks went by, and as the weeks went by we were told different things by the doctors. We were told she had a year, we were told she had a couple of months, we were told she had 6 months, then it went to 3 months, and then within 2 weeks it went from she had a couple of months to 3 months to a couple of weeks to this is going to be her last weekend. It was my birthday on the 6th of March. I was just turning 13, and we had this great party organised, and Mum was like, she was in hospital during this time, but she was just determined that she was gonna be there, and we'd got like a stretch Hummer, and she like was absolutely, she wouldn't let anybody else in the front of it. Like my dad or my auntie both tried to say that we'll go in the Hummer with the girls, and she was having none of it. She was like, no way, I'm getting in there for my daughter's birthday. And she stayed for as long as she could, and she just, if you ever needed a description of or an image of what mother's love looks like, that was the day. That was the scenario that showed it. And as I said, it was a great night. We had such a good time. She had a good time, and she went back to hospital that evening and then was in hospital for that week. I had a mini business competition in Crow Park on the Thursday. That was the Saturday. And on the Thursday, and she got herself out of hospital to come and see me in the competition, and left just before I won an award. So after I won the award, me and my dad went up to the hospital to show her, and everything was fine. On the Friday I was coming home from school, I got a phone call from my dad, and he said, I'm on my way to come and get you, to bring you to the hospital. When you get home, change your clothes and I'm be ready to go. And I kind of start being like, oh Dad, I don't want to go. I should note that I absolutely hated going to the hospital. I know it sounds terrible, but I was a kid. I hated going to the hospital. I hated seeing my mum go in the hospital. So I would try and avoid as much as I could. So I kind of was like, oh Dad, I don't want to go to the hospital, I'm not in the mood. And he was like, oh, we'll see. So anyway, he arrived down, and I got changed and I was ready to go, but I didn't want to go. And anyway, he's like, come on, you just come on. So we were in the car on the way to the hospital, and he turned to me and he was like, I'm guessing you know why I've or made you come? And I looked at him and I was like, no. And he said, Mam's after taking a turn and we don't know how much longer she has left. So I went up to the hospital and there was my mum. She hadn't talked at all that day until I walked in the door. I just said hi and gave her a kiss. My aunties were there and all my family members were there and some of my mum's friends. And we sat there. I got my friend to come up then and we just sat there for hours. It kind of started to get late, so my dad was like, I think like you should go home, it'll be okay. So we went home and I went in to say goodbye to her and I told her that I loved her. She told me I was dressed nice and that she loved me too. And they were the last words she ever said. The next day, it was my friend's birthday, so we were at her party. When I came out, I realised that, because we all lived across the road from each other, I realised there was loads of cars outside my house, including my dad's and my auntie's, and there was lights on. So I just thought I'd go over and say hi, because I didn't realise why they were all there. And my dad answered the door, and as soon as he answered it, I just looked at him and said, she's gone, isn't she? It was 1 week after my 13th birthday, and that day I thought that was the end for me. Me and my mum were, I've never ever met a mother and daughter to be as close as me and my mum were. And I know I might be biased, but people say, oh, loads of people say that, and she was just my whole world. And I always felt that I was put on this earth to mind her and to mind her. So when she passed away, I thought I failed at my job, and she was just my everything, and she still is. For a good while after, as I said, I thought I failed at my job, and I thought that was my job. And I also thought then that, like, okay, well, she's gone, so that means my job is done here. Like, why am I still here? And I kind of would get frustrated sometimes because I couldn't understand why I was still here even though she was gone. And it took me a while to look past that and to see that's not the case. As I said, I was so lucky to have so many amazing people around me and to have my dad. But I felt alone because even though my dad has lost his mum, and at that point had lost his mum, and all of my aunties and my mum had lost their mum, and even though they were saying like, we're here for you, Lauren, and like, we know because we've lost our mum, I would get so angry inside because I was like, but you don't know because I'm 13. Yes, you've lost your mum, but not at 13. You had your mum for your debs and your graduation and your junior cert, your leaving cert, starting college, your first car, your wedding, your first child, and I'm not going to have any of that. And that used to really anger me inside, and in that sense I just felt so alone because there was no one who could immediately relate to me. And I did struggle, obviously. I ate far too much for like a good year after my mum passed, and that's how I dealt with it. I suppose I was fortunate in the sense that I threw myself into my dancing and to my schoolwork when my mum passed away, and that's kind of how I dealt with it, was going into the studio and working on my dancing or working on schoolwork when I know there's a whole darker path that people do take and I could have taken. So I was fortunate in the sense that I didn't go down that road and I threw myself into the things that I was doing. But it was, I suppose I didn't deal with it for a while, and I was very angry and I would snap at people very quickly, and I just couldn't understand why this was happening to me and all this type of stuff. And it's only in the last kind of couple of years that I've dealt with it, and I am I'm good now. I suppose, like, people always say it will get better, and I don't think it ever gets better, but it gets easier. You learn to deal with it and you learn to live your life with it, and that's where I am. And how I did this, I changed my perception or perspective of it. For the majority of my life after my mum passed, I would look and say, but I only had her for 13 years. Like, that's not fair. I only had her for 13 years. And I've learned to change my mindset to say, but I had her for 13 years. And how lucky am I that I had such an amazing mum for 13 years who taught me so much and loved me so much and has shown me what, like, mother's love is, and has shown me how I want to be as a person and as a mother. Like, how lucky am I to have that for 13 years? And that just brought so much peace to me. In relation to, like, thinking that my job was to mind her, I did come past that because I realised that wasn't my job. I think I have many jobs in this life, and I think what I'm doing now is definitely one of them, and it's my purpose, I believe, in life, to help others who are like me and have gone through stuff that I've gone through. So that's one of my jobs, and she has taught me, along with my dad obviously, but like how to be kind and loving and how to be supportive of someone and how I can help people. I also very quickly, and I think this is what helped me kind of get it together, I suppose, more quickly, is that I just said to myself, I want to live my life for my mum, and I don't do what I do every day just for me anymore. I do it for her too, because I want to do everything in life that I know she would want me to do. And my mum, it was kind of a joke, when I was a kid at Christmas time, she'd like all the presents and stuff, but she'd nearly be more excited about them than I would be. And we used to joke that, like, she was living her childhood through me, and I want to continue to do that, to live my life, or to live her life through me. And that has helped me so much. And as I said, the biggest turning point for me was realizing, well, hold on a minute, I'm so lucky that I had her as my mum for those 13 years. And I know I'm so fortunate for that. In my life, I've also lost some other family members. As I mentioned, my dad's mum passed away when I was younger. I can't remember what age exactly, maybe 7, sometime around that. And then my mum's mum passed away directly a year before my mum did, literally a day. My mum's the 13th and she's the 14th of March. So yeah, then my mum obviously, and I lost my auntie too when I was in 3rd year, so 15. And then finally I lost my granddad there when I was 19, 2017. Yeah, no, I wasn't 19 in 2017. I was 20. So I've gone through my fair share of losing loved ones, but I now look upon them all and say, well, am I so lucky to have had such amazing people like that in my life for the amount of time I did, and they've all taught me so much. And everyone in life is going to have to deal with grief at some point, whether you're young or old. It doesn't mean it hurts any more or any less. It still hurts and it still causes pain, and you will go through some grief, but just always know that you can get through it. And as I said, I'm not going to say it gets better, but it gets easier because you learn how to deal with it. And I think the more you speak about it, I've always been very open about it, about my past and stuff like that, so it never really, well, I didn't really like talking about it in the beginning, but as I got older, I've never really minded talking about it. But definitely talk. Find someone that you trust, whether it's a parent or a grandparent or siblings, aunts, uncles, friends, strangers. Find someone who you feel comfortable and like you can connect with. Know people are only trying to do their best for you, and not everybody knows the right thing to say, so just bear with people. But always remember how lucky you are to have that person in your life and to have learned so much from them, and take what you've learned from them and apply it to your life daily. And always remember that they're with you. Whenever you need them, they're there. I've asked my mum many a times to help me in a test. Never be afraid to talk to them. Never be afraid to do what you want to do in terms of speaking with them or remembering them. Like, I don't like going to the graveyard. I go maybe 3 times a year max, but yeah, that does nothing for me, but for some people it does wonders for them. So find what suits you and go with it, and don't make anyone make you feel bad for not doing things that you should be doing. But just do what suits you. And if you're watching this and you have gone through something similar or are going through something similar, just know that you're not alone. I know I'm not alone. I've met so many people over the last little while who have experienced similar things to me. I also know there's people out there who've gone through a lot worse than me. But whoever you are and wherever you are, just know you're not alone. Know that person who you've lost is looking down at you and is so proud of you for everything that you're doing and everything you're achieving. If you ever need to talk, you know where I am. I'm here. I'm on Instagram, but I'm always here to help and just reassure you that you're not battling this alone. And I know what it's like not to have a parent for those big milestones. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't really know where this video has gone. I won't know until I edit it, but hopefully it helps somebody somewhere. And if it does, please don't be afraid to reach out to me, because you will let me know that this video was worthwhile. Sorry for my tears, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll chat to you guys next week. Bye.